Matlock, with its gripping courtroom drama and the magnetic presence of Ben Matlock, carved a special place in the hearts of legal drama fans. But behind the success of its talented cast lies a web of real-life tragedies, from sudden illness to heartbreaking loss. In this video, we'll uncover the true names and hidden stories the stars kept away from the public eye. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's go. Andy Griffith as Ben Matlock. Andy Griffith, born June 1, 1926, was a multi-talented American entertainer whose career spanned 7 decades. From 1986 to 1995, at age 60, he left an indelible mark as attorney Ben Matlock in the series Matlock, a folksy yet razor-sharp defender of justice beloved across America. However, behind the friendly on-screen persona was a private life marked by deep shadows and pain. Born into poverty in North Carolina, Andy once had to sleep in a dresser drawer as a child. He went through 3 marriages, 2 of which ended in divorce. His adopted son, Sam Griffith, died of alcoholism at the age of 38, a blow from which Andy never fully recovered. Physically, he endured a great deal. In 1983, he suffered temporary paralysis from Guillain-Barré syndrome and took 7 months to walk again. In 2000, he underwent quadruple heart bypass surgery, and in 2007, he had hip replacement surgery after a serious fall. Despite winning a Grammy and widespread public admiration, Andy Griffith never received an Emmy nomination for any of his legendary roles. He passed away on July 3, 2012, from a heart attack at the age of 86. He was buried just 5 hours after his death, quietly, like the silent burdens he carried throughout his life. Don Knotts as Les Calhoun. Jesse Donald Knotts, born July 21, 1924, was a beloved American comedian best known as Deputy Barney Fife on The Andy Griffith Show. From 1988 to 1992, at age 64, he made recurring appearances on Matlock as Les Calhoun, the quirky, lovable neighbor of Ben Matlock. But behind his ever-smiling face was a life haunted by trauma. Don's childhood was tragic. His father, suffering from schizophrenia and alcoholism, often chased him with a knife. His father died when Don was only 13. This early isolation left a permanent mark, contributing to lifelong anxiety and depression. Though he earned 5 Emmy Awards and enjoyed fame, Knotts went through 2 divorces, lost much of his vision to macular degeneration, and privately battled lung cancer. He passed away on February 24, 2006, at the age of 81 due to pneumonia complications related to lung cancer at Cedars-Sinai Hospital in Los Angeles. His grave at Westwood Memorial Park was later adorned with a bronze plaque etched with the characters that made him a legend. A statue honoring him now stands in his hometown of Morgantown, West Virginia, the place where a dark childhood gave rise to a timeless icon of American comedy. Nancy Stafford as Michelle Thomas. Nancy Elizabeth Stafford, born June 5, 1954, in Wilton Manors, Florida, was one of Matlock's most prominent stars. When she took on the role of Michelle Thomas, Ben Matlock's sharp, poised law partner, from 1987 to 1992, she was 33 years old. With her elegance, strength, and intelligence, Stafford helped cement Matlock as a landmark series of the late 80s. Yet behind the weekly spotlight and millions of viewers, Nancy's real life remained quiet and grounded. She was Miss Florida in 1976 and a contestant in the 1977 Miss America pageant. After earning a journalism degree from the University of Florida, she moved to Los Angeles and made her way through roles in The Doctors, St. Elsewhere, and Sidekicks. But Matlock was the crown jewel of her acting career. When the series moved its filming location from California to North Carolina, Nancy made the surprising decision to step away, not due to conflict, but because she felt it was time for a life change. After Matlock, she withdrew from the Hollywood limelight to embrace her Christian faith. She married Pastor Larry Myers and became a Christian speaker, hosting inspirational programs like Main Floor and Love, Marriage and Stinkin' Thinkin'. As of 2025, Nancy Stafford is 70 years old and enjoying a fulfilling life with her family. She continues to share messages of love and faith through Christian TV programs, both as a host and a voice of encouragement. Clarence Gilyard Jr. as Conrad McMasters. Clarence Alfred Gilyard Jr., born December 24, 1955, was one of the most recognizable faces on American television in the late 1980s and early 1990s. From 1989 to 1993, he played Conrad McMasters, the loyal, modern, cowboy-style private investigator who stood faithfully by Ben Matlock's side. At the time, Gilyard was 35 years old, sharp and widely beloved by audiences. But behind the scenes, Gilyard lived a life full of ups and downs. Raised in a military family with 6 siblings, his youth was rebellious. He struggled with alcohol, short-lived relationships, and casual drug use. After being asked by his parents to move out due to his lifestyle, he began building his own life, working as a waiter, selling industrial chemicals, and eventually discovering acting as an escape. He found his way into film with supporting roles in Top Gun, 1986, The Karate Kid Part 2, and Die Hard, 1988, where he left a strong impression as the clever terrorist hacker Theo. In 1993, he gained further fame as Jimmy Trevette, Chuck Norris's trusted partner on Walker, Texas Ranger. However, at the height of his career, Clarence made a dramatic pivot. Haunted by his reckless past and feeling spiritually empty, he turned to Catholicism, remarried, and dedicated himself to education. In 2006, he became an associate professor of acting at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. To his students, he wasn't just a well-known actor, he was a guide through emotional struggle, a man of quiet strength. Colleagues called him a beacon at UNLV, humble, grounded, and resilient. Toward the end of his life, Gilyard battled a long illness. He passed away on November 28, 2022 at his home in Las Vegas at the age of 66. David Froman as Lieutenant Bob Brooks. David Wesley. Froman, born December 31, 1938 in Miami, Oklahoma, became a familiar face on American television through his role as Lieutenant Bob Brooks in Matlock. At the age of 48, Froman wasn't the flashiest star, but he was a reliable and steady presence, the embodiment of calm, professionalism, and quiet strength. Yet off-screen, his life was more complex than the composed detective he portrayed. After graduating from Northeastern Oklahoma A&M College, NEO, in 1961, Froman began his career teaching speech and theater. It wasn't until 1969, almost at 31 years old, that he shifted course to pursue acting full-time. Even as his television career soared, Froman made a surprising decision in 1994. He left Hollywood and returned to his hometown of Miami, Oklahoma. He rejoined NEO, not as a student, but as a respected professor and theater director, dedicating his later years to mentoring the next generation of performers. His personal life was rooted in love and stability. He married Audrey Stein in 1978, and together they raised 6 children. After years in New York and Los Angeles, they returned to Oklahoma, completing a full-circle journey of life and purpose. In his final years, Froman quietly battled cancer. Despite the pain, he continued to teach part-time and direct plays until November 2009. On February 8, 2010, David Froman passed away at his home in Miami at the age of 71. There was no flashy Hollywood send-off, just a heartfelt memorial at NEO, where students and colleagues said goodbye to the teacher, the actor, and the man who inspired them. Brynn Thayer as Leanne McIntyre. Brynn Thayer, born October 4, 1949, was 42 years old when she stepped into the role of Leanne McIntyre, the strong, rational, yet emotionally layered daughter of Ben Matlock in Matlock, 1991 to 1994. Across 53 episodes, she became more than just a co-star. She became a new emotional anchor for the series as it entered its later phase. Thayer began her career in the late 1970s with the long-running role of Jenny Wolek on One Life to Live, which earned her a Daytime Emmy nomination. Leaving the world of soap operas in 1986, she transitioned smoothly to primetime TV with appearances in TV 101, Island Son, and ultimately Matlock. As Leanne, a fellow lawyer following in her father's footsteps, she added depth to the show and showcased her full range as an actress. Off-screen, Thayer is the daughter of William Paul Thayer, a former U.S. Deputy Secretary of Defense under the Reagan administration. Raised in a disciplined environment, she adopted a quiet lifestyle, free from scandal and deeply committed to charity. She co-founded the organization Zaz Angels with fellow actor Michael Zaslow, who was diagnosed with ALS. After Zaslow's death in 1998, Thayer continued to support ALS awareness and other causes, all without seeking the spotlight. As of 2025, Brynn Thayer is 75 years old and still active in the arts, sustaining a steady, quiet presence. She is proof that an artist doesn't need controversy or bright lights, only integrity, belief in the craft, and faith in herself. Warren Frost as Billy Lewis. Warren Frost, born June 5, 1925, was an American actor who stepped into the spotlight well into his 60s. He portrayed Billy Lewis on Matlock from 1991 to 1995, appearing on the show at the ages of 66. Few know that before appearing on screen, Frost had lived through an incredibly intense life. At 17, he enlisted in the military and fought in the D-Day invasion at Normandy during World War II, an experience that would shape his entire worldview. After the war, Frost didn't dive into show business right away. Instead, he spent most of his life as a university professor and theater director, until his son, screenwriter Mark Frost, brought him into the Hollywood fold. While widely known as Dr. Hayward on Twin Peaks, Warren Frost was a man who quietly endured profound personal loss. His wife of over 50 years passed away in 2002, leaving him alone in his final years. His health steadily declined, and after years of illness, he passed away on February 17, 2017, at the age of 91. He died peacefully at home in Middlebury, Vermont. The press described his passing as a spotlight dimming after shining brightly too late. Frost is remembered not for chasing fame, but for being a quiet patriarch who stepped onto life's stage when most thought he would remain forever behind the curtain. Aneta Corsaut as Judge Cynthia Justin. Aneta Louise Corsaut, born November 3, 1933, was an American actress best known for her role as Judge Cynthia Justin on Matlock, appearing in 10 episodes between 1987 and 1992 at ages 54. Behind her sharp and composed courtroom presence was a personal life marked by pain and secrecy. Corsaut never married and had no children. She had a long-standing romantic relationship with Andy Griffith during The Andy Griffith Show, a quiet, off-screen affair known to the cast but never publicly discussed. Corsaut devoted her life to her craft, but battled cancer in silence. Just days after her 62nd birthday, on November 6, 1995, she passed away in Los Angeles. She was buried at Valhalla Memorial Park near North Hollywood, her life of talent and solitude ending not with noise, but with a quiet, poignant farewell. Kari Lizer as Cassie Phillips. Kari Lizer, born August 26, 1961, in San Diego, California, was one of the youngest cast members of Matlock. At just 25 years old, she portrayed Cassie Phillips, Ben Matlock's quick-witted and charming assistant, appearing in 9 episodes between 1986 and 1987. Though her screen time was brief, her intelligence and subtle allure made a lasting impression on viewers. But Kari Lizer didn't stop at acting. After Matlock, she transitioned away from the spotlight to work behind the scenes, where she truly thrived. She became the creative force behind the hit comedy The New Adventures of Old Christine, which aired for 5 seasons on CBS. When the show was abruptly canceled in 2010, Lizer didn't hold back. She publicly accused the network of sexism, sparking widespread conversation and solidifying her image as a bold, principled voice in Hollywood. By 2025, at age 63, Kari Lizer is more than a former TV actress. She's a seasoned creator, a sharp writer, and a fearless advocate. With no scandals and no drama, she has chosen a stable yet powerful life, proof that impact doesn't require noise to be unforgettable. Jason Wingreen as Judge Arthur Beaumont. Jason Wingreen, born October 9, 1920, was a veteran American actor who played Judge Arthur Beaumont in 7 episodes of Matlock from 1987 to 1991 at the ages of 67. With his stern face and commanding voice, he was the perfect embodiment of an uncompromising courtroom figure. Yet behind the scenes, Wingreen faced quiet heartache. After more than 30 years of marriage, he divorced his only wife, Gloria Scotty Back, who passed away in 1996, leaving him to spend his final years in solitude. Though he had children and grandchildren, he once confessed that the only time he truly felt alive was when the phone rang and he heard his grandson's voice, a gentle reminder that he hadn't been forgotten. Known to TV audiences for his roles in All in the Family and Archie Bunker's Place, Wingreen also voiced the original Boba Fett in Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back. However, in 2004, his voice was quietly replaced in the DVD release without notice, an act that left him feeling erased from a legacy he helped build. In his later years, Wingreen withdrew from public life, struggling with long-term heart issues. He died on Christmas Day, December 25, 2015, at the age of 95. His passing saddened both Star Wars and Matlock fans, a quiet farewell to a man who once gave voice and depth to authority figures, but exited the world like a star fading gently into shadow. Marge Redmond as Mrs. McArdle. Marge Redmond, born December 14, 1924, played the kind-hearted Mrs. McArdle in 5 episodes of Matlock between 1986 and 1990, when she was 61 years old. With her gentle appearance, she was often cast in warm, supportive roles. But her real life was marked by quiet loss and solitude. Raised in a working-class family in Ohio, Marge began acting after leaving her job as a bank typist. She rose to prominence with her Emmy-nominated role as Sister Jacqueline in The Flying Nun, but the spotlight never healed her personal wounds. Her marriage to actor Jack Weston, her longtime partner from Broadway to Hollywood, ended in a quiet divorce at an unspecified time, leaving behind an unfillable void. Despite the separation, the two remained in contact, clinging to the memories they once shared. After Weston's death in 2008 and the passing of her close friend John Forsythe in 2010, Marge gradually withdrew from the public eye. In her later years, she faced age-related health challenges, living in seclusion, and no longer participating in film or stage productions. Marge Redmond died of natural causes on February 10, 2020, at the age of 95. Tragically, her death went unreported for nearly 3 months, an eerie reminder that even some of Hollywood's quietest stars can be forgotten, despite being irreplaceable in their subtle brilliance. Betty Lynn as Sarah. Elizabeth Ann. Teresa Lynn, better known as Betty Lynn, was born August 29, 1926, and played the role of Sarah in the first 4 episodes of Matlock in 1986, at age 60. Before that, she had already endeared herself to American audiences as Thelma Lou, the sweet girlfriend of Deputy Barney Fife on The Andy Griffith Show. Yet behind her gentle screen persona was a life filled with silent suffering. Born into a fractured family, Betty's father once threatened to shoot her mother while she was still in the womb. Her childhood was defined by trauma, fear, and protection from her single mother. Her grandfather became her surrogate father, guiding her through a turbulent youth. Despite her success with 20th Century Fox and on network TV, Betty Lynn never married. She was engaged once but never had children, devoting herself instead to caring for her mother and grandparents, a quiet family pillar behind the scenes. In her later years, Betty lived reclusively in Mount Airy, North Carolina. Though her health declined, she still made monthly appearances to sign autographs and connect with fans. She passed away on October 16, 2021, at the age of 95, following a brief illness. David Carradine as Steve Mazurowski. David Carradine, born December 8, 1936, guest starred in Matlock in 1987, appearing in 3 episodes as Steve Mazurowski at age 51. But his life story was far darker than the roles he portrayed, filled with tragedy, inner chaos, and haunting scandal. As the eldest son of acting legend John Carradine, David grew up in a household fueled by art but riddled with conflict. At just 5 years old, he attempted to hang himself, only to be saved by his father. His childhood was a carousel of boarding schools, reform institutions, and theater tours with a stage-obsessed parent. He rose to global fame in the 1970s with Kung Fu, portraying Kwai Chang Caine. Yet behind the fame were arrests for drug possession, DUI, and property damage. Carradine once wandered naked on the street while high on peyote, broke into a neighbor's home, and intentionally injured himself, events that led to multiple lawsuits. Despite 5 marriages, he remained a lost soul. In 2004, Quentin Tarantino revived his career with Kill Bill, earning Carradine a Golden Globe nomination. But 5 years later, everything came crashing down. On June 4, 2009, he was found dead in a Bangkok hotel room, naked, hanging in a closet, in what investigators ruled as accidental asphyxiation during autoerotic activity. His death sent shockwaves through Hollywood. Carradine was buried at Forest Lawn Hollywood Hills at age 72. His legacy remains both mystifying and tragic, an immensely gifted actor haunted by demons that no one could save him from. Anne Haney as Elsie. Anne Haney, born March 4, 1934, was an American actress who appeared in 2 episodes of Matlock in 1986 as Elsie, at the age of 52. On screen, she often portrayed stern but warm-hearted authority figures, mothers, supervisors, judges, but her real life was marked by private grief few ever knew. After the sudden death of her beloved husband in 1980, Anne was plunged into emotional despair. That heartbreak deepened when her only son died in a car accident, sending her into a spiral of depression. These tragedies led her to leave her old life behind and seek refuge in Hollywood during middle age, pursuing acting as the only path that made her feel alive again. Despite personal struggles, she found success in memorable supporting roles in Mrs. Doubtfire, Liar Liar, The American President, and many hit TV series. Yet throughout her late career, Anne quietly battled chronic heart failure. She passed away on May 26, 2001, at her home in Studio City, Los Angeles, from congestive heart failure at the age of 67. David Ogden Stiers as Thomas Baldwin. David Ogden Stiers, born October 31, 1942, was an American actor and conductor who appeared in 2 Matlock episodes in 1987 at 45 years old as Thomas Baldwin, a cerebral character with layers of repressed emotion. Best known for playing Major Winchester in MASH and for voicing iconic Disney roles like Cogsworth, Beauty and the Beast, and Jumba, Lilo and Stitch, Stiers captured hearts across generations. Behind his commanding voice and serious demeanor was a life of quiet conflict. He endured the loss of his father, painful romantic breakups, and decades of hiding his homosexuality, fearing it would destroy his career as a family-friendly character actor. It wasn't until 2009, at age 67, that he publicly came out, longing to find authentic love in his later years. His final battle was against bladder cancer, which he fought privately until his passing on March 3, 2018, at age 75, in his home in Newport, Oregon. Though he left this world quietly, he left a powerful human legacy, donating his estate to local arts organizations where he had once served as a respected conductor. Richard Gilliland as Jeffrey Spittle. Richard Gilliland, born January 23, 1950, was an American actor who left a sharp impression with his portrayal of Jeffrey Spittle in a 1991 episode of Matlock at the age of 41. Though brief, the role showcased his ability to channel cold intelligence and cunning into a compelling antagonist. Depth he brought to both his characters and his. Gilliland launched his acting after studying theater at the University of Kansas and the Goodman School of Chicago. He began with stage member of Free Street Theater before relocating in pursuit of his cinematic dream. But it was designing women that not only brought him a recurring, but also introduced him to the love of his life, Jean Smart. Richard married in 1987, over 3 decades of marriage, raising 2 sons together, including one adopted in 2009. The couple on screen in 24's fifth season, Richard playing Officer Stan, portraying First Lady, a rare pairing of real screen chemistry. Yet behind the scenes of his steady career and enduring marriage was a quiet, choosing instead to carry the weight of illness privately while continuing to work and support his family. On March 2021, he passed away in Los Angeles after a short but he was 71, though his departure was quiet behind in both his family and the industry. He is remembered not only for his talent, dedication, quiet strength, and the deep his life. As Judge Michael Alden, Alexander Zale, March 18, 1931 in Baghdad, Iraq, single Matlock episode in 1990 at age, portraying the stern and composed Judge Michael symbolized integrity and justice. On screen, Zale's life was a turbulent journey filled with personal demons and unspoken pain. With the pioneering theater collective Living Theater, and quickly made a name for himself through deeply George Garga and Jason in Medea, rating with iconic directors like André Serban and Vittorio Gassman, including Lincoln Center and Delacorte Theater, but the spotlight only concealed him. Zale went through 2 divorces and battled long, which at times left him emotionally devastated. Though intellectually, he often hid himself inside characters to avoid confronting the void. Fractures in his personal world led him away from classical theater and toward film in Los Angeles, where he appeared in small roles like Matlock. In his final years, he with Parkinson's disease, a condition that gradually ability to perform and stripped away the life. After years of suffering in silence, Alexander Zale passed away on August 20 in Los Angeles at the age of 89. From complications related to Parkinson's, marked not just the but also a quiet, close to a career filled with and profound solitude. Which actor left the biggest impression on you? Share your thoughts in the comments. below, and don't forget to subscribe for more exciting for watching, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.